want to make partner, right?
Right. I have no idea how hard it is to be a person of color at this work. When we're at the top, we push them inch by inch.
I will not measure progress in inches.
Got some lady lawyer here. You can just say lawyer.
Yes, honey.
Life is not just about making partner. You gotta get out there and live a little. Nick and I are great. When we're together, it's easy. It's so fast.
She can't get Murphy out of her head.
Oh, I don't think it's her head. That's the problem.
We're lawyers. Managing risk is what we do.
Arden, Dominic, good morning.
Hi,
Morning,
Jeff.
How are you?
Nice backdrop. Look at us. We're right
Very
there.
good. I like that.
I'm in the firm.
You're in the firm.
Well, thank you both for joining me today. Talked about Partner Track streaming on Netflix. And Arden, I've read that you could relate to your character in Partner Track, that you've personally experienced so many of those moments, either in your life or career.
Yes, yes. I mean, so many of us have. I always joke and say it probably wasn't until my late 20s, early 30s where I realized this wasn't normal or this wasn't okay. You sort of grow up thinking that's just how life is. And now it's great that we get to show it in a way that the audience gets to walk through what Ingrid lives with. They get to sort of see those uncomfortable moments and those sometimes hard to explain situations, right?
Mhm.
Where you're just like, ooh, that didn't feel right. That was weird. And that was a bit misogynistic, but you're not quite sure how to describe it. But now you get to feel it.
Yeah, I see a lot of the show as teaching moments. That's how I describe it.
Quietly teaching.
And Dominic, this is a family show. I would say this is a family show, Dominic. So it's hard to describe your character. There's a certain term attached to him.
Yeah.
Let's say he has a passion for women, right?
Well, yeah. So kind of. I think he has. The thing with Jeff is I think he has this sort of devil may care attitude when it comes to sort of himself and where he's at. And so much of his motivation is based on taking care of a very specific group of other people, which I don't want to give away unless anyone hasn't seen the show yet. But a lot of his motivation is that. And what we find out sort of throughout the show is how kind of ruthless he's willing to be, which is actually kind of the question with a lot of our lawyers, like how far are you willing to go to achieve this goal, which is a big part of the stories for Arden and I, but myself as well. And yeah, I think you're right. It's a family show. It's difficult to describe him without using Bradley's choice words that he crowns me at the beginning of the show. Yeah.
People can Google it, Dominic. People can do it.
Yeah,
they're gonna Google it. Yeah, they're gonna Google it. So I'm just not gonna say the words.
Absolutely.
I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get you in trouble, Jeff. We're just not gonna. We're not gonna say
go
words,
there.
but yeah,
Well,
he's just not everyone's cup of tea, Jeff.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
That's perfectly stated. And Arden, you originally passed on the audition for this part, but in the end, the producers changed the character to reflect your own cultural identity, didn't they?
Yes. I mean, originally, because it was based on a book, sometimes you just think you might not be right for it. And, as actors, it's tough. We don't always get to pick and choose, but I really believe in telling authentic stories. And I feel like when it's something that's based off a book, you just want to honor a project. But again, once we got involved and once I had conversations with Georgia and Helen and the team, we realized this is an Asian American story. This is a woman's story. This isn't just a story about being Chinese American or Korean American. This is a woman's story trying to break that glass ceiling in a man's world, and something that honestly, it being less focused on her race, but just about her as a human tells a more relatable story.
And Dominic, you're heading towards 3 million followers on Instagram, and the internet's going crazy over your role in Partner Track. Yeah. So is it important to interact with your fans?
Yes, it is very much so. I think I've sort of struggled with this over the course of my career. Like I really enjoy my privacy. And I think that's very fundamental. And I think there are times when people can't separate the characters you play and you as a human being. I want to preface all of this with I am not like Jeff at all. We just look very similar, but other than that, we're not the same person. And I think I struggle, like I'm such a softie. I struggle with, and I think we've all done this. You read 100 positive comments, and then the one slightly negative one is the one that ruins my day. So when it comes to like social media, I don't think interacting is necessarily the best thing for me personally. However, and I say this every time, you know, if I get stopped on the street or whatever, I say this every time to whoever it is, that is the best thing in the world to me, because it's kind of like my boss coming up and saying, you're doing a good job. We enjoy what you do. So that it really does mean the world to me. And I'll very happily sit and chat to you and tell you behind the scenes stories, whatever you want. Just social for me doesn't quite, I'm not very good at it, basically. I've asked Arden like 4 different times how to post things on Instagram.
It's hilarious. He'll be like, hey, why did I crop myself out of my own post? And I'm like, oh, Dominic, can you delete it and repost? And he goes, I don't know how.
I don't know.
And we're like, A for effort. But you know, Dominic is so right. I remember when I first met him, I was like, what a cool, suave guy. And I was like, he's just this heartbreaker. But then we get to know Dominic, and he is just like, sorry, the nicest, sweetest softie. Sorry to expose you, but Dominic is so nice. Along with really our entire cast, especially our boys, which is so funny because they're all so good at playing like the cool bad guys. But you guys are all like the sweetest soft boys. And I feel like we're all the same, and like, we're so sensitive. All of us have our little chats being like, oh no, one bad comment. We're just like crying, but you know, well, it's tough.
Fans adore the show. Congratulations on a great season. And let's talk again for season 2. So let's talk again soon. Thank you both.
Love that. Put it out there.
Thank you.
Put it out there. Thank you, Jeff.